This is a message of encouragement to those of you who are in a position where you received a lot of education and training, and right now you are not working in the field for which you have been educated and trained for, and you're kind of going through something personally in regards to that. Let me give you a little background, and then let me just express some of my opinions and concerns and experiences regarding that, because I'm kind of going through that right now myself. Let's say that you decided to go back to school. Well, you went to school. Let's say you got a degree in, let's just say, sociology. I'm just throwing that out there. It could be any profession. And when you got out of school, you were able to get a job in your field. Now, we live in a very unpredictable economy, unpredictable times, and it's a situation nowadays where people are just getting something to be able to maintain their livelihood. There are some of us who made those sacrifices going to school, and I kind of go into detail in that in a previous audio talking about education and the sacrifices that people go through when they do a post-secondary education or training. You know, it requires a certain level of commitment and discipline. You're studying a specific craft or trade in hopes that you can get a position in that field and be able to not just get by anymore. You want to be able to live well and be able to provide for your household and your families. That was a goal. Well, I'm going to tell you, once upon a time, when I was younger, it was easier for people to do that because, number one, a lot of people didn't try to pursue a post-secondary education as much because the demand wasn't there as much. So the people who did do it back then, they had an edge, so to speak. It was more likely that they were able to get higher paid positions. But now we live in a time where we have more people that are trying to pursue positions, that there's more competition. The bottom line, there's more competition. And what they don't teach you in college is how to navigate through that. They don't teach you the what ifs. You know, a lot of people do make it through school. They're able to do an internship, and sometimes they'll get hired through the internship. Sometimes they won't once they get their degree, but they're able to get whatever they need in their field. But the problem is the economic steps in. The additional problem that a lot of these people have now is, okay, I found something in my field, but is it going to pay the bills? See, we didn't have those questions before when I was younger. And because the economy is so unstable and has been for so long, people have to ask themselves that question now. Whereas 30, 40 years ago, they didn't have to ask that question. And they're beginning to take positions that had nothing to do with their training, and some of them are saddled with student debt from something that they got trained for, but they aren't able to get a comparable job in their field to take care of their bills, so they have to take something else. And there's something else they have to take from that salary to turn around and pay for something that they got education in, and they're not even working in that field. Doesn't sound logical, does it? But it happens every single day, people. It happens every single day. And it's a bad situation because in your mind, you're going through this thing where you're like, why did I go to school? It's always good to get some additional training in something once you finish high school. It's good to specialize in something. And there are some people right now that are just giving up hope. Some of them have given 4, 6, sometimes 8 years to a position that they get, or let's say that they do get it, but the company or the firm that they work for, they had financial issues and they wound up losing their job. I've run into that situation. And all of a sudden, this position that you studied all these years for is gone. And it creates a sense of failure inside of you. It really does. Because you start to question, boy, I shouldn't have taken that field. I shouldn't have studied this. Why did I even bother? I've got more debt now than I had before I decided to go to school. And now I don't even have the job that I studied for. And I mean, it creates a huge amount of confusion in your mind. It messes with your identity in some cases. And in some cases, you have some people that have family members or significant others that are twisting the knife in their back even further by commenting on the fact that they're not working on their field. This person feels bad enough that they're not even working in the field that they're in, not for a lack of trying, because they have. It's just that the situation in the world has not allowed them to work in the field that they need to work in. Now, I'm not referring to people who just wiggled their way through life, didn't have any sense of direction, and just did whatever. I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to the people who had an agenda, a plan, that they were going to do X, Y, Z, and the world gave them a plate full of bullshit. Those are the people I'm talking to right now. So how do you navigate? How do you make adjustments for that? How do you get your sanity back? Because by the time you realize and you made all these sacrifices, and some of you got married and raised families while you were studying in hopes to have a better life for you, what do? Do you wind up going back to school and incurring more debt in another field and start the cycle all over again? This time you've got additional responsibilities. You've got a house, you've got a family, you've got car payments and everything else. You've got things in your life that you didn't have before you studied the first time. So it's all going to be even more difficult now. The pressure is on. And it's not your fault. Sometimes life just isn't fair. And that's the truth. But what we have to do now is we have to take a step back. First of all, strengthen our relationship with our Creator. Whoever you want to call him or her, whatever the case may be, and reevaluate. Put the cards on the table and say what? Say this. Look, I put in X amount of time and X amount of sacrifice studying this thing. I have worked in the field for a short period of time, or I haven't been able to get anything in my particular field, and I have all these responsibilities, and I can't even do what I sacrificed to learn how to do. What should I do now? That's all you have to say. You don't have to say any these and thous and wherefores and who to fors, and you don't have to quote 50 million Bible verses, and you don't have to light all these 20 candles and all that stuff. Just put it out there and just say this. Look, this is what I'm feeling right now. Just say it to your higher power and say, look, this is, because I had to do this. I had to do this. I had a couple of jobs that were in my field, and due to funding, in both cases, I lost them. And it messes with your mind for a while, because even though I had experience in other fields, because I was one of those people who didn't get my degree all the way through the first time. So the time between the time I dropped out of school and the time I went back to school, I was able to get experience in other fields. I was lucky enough to do that. But when I did go back to school, it was with the intention of working in this particular field. And I was lucky enough to do that. But like I said, the agencies that I was working for, because of politics and funding, I couldn't do it as long as I could. So I was one of those people. That's why I'm speaking on this. So I have decided that I'm going to make lemons into lemonade. And I'll tell you guys about that next month, because that's in the plans now. But if you're in the position that I'm in, I just want to let you know that I feel you. I know I'm there. I know where you are. And I know how you feel. First of all, stop beating yourself up. You had good intent. You did the right thing. But see, there may be something bigger than what you're looking for that field that you're in. So what you're going to have to do is ask your Creator to help you research alternative means of exercising your craft, exercising what you trained for in order to make a living from it. It may not be working for somebody else. It may be you starting your own business in that field. Have you considered that? Or maybe being a consultant, or maybe speaking, or maybe teaching in that particular field instead of working in that field. You just don't know. So I just wanted to put that word of encouragement out there, because we're living in tough times right now, and I'm coming across a lot of adults, younger and older, who are suffering from that. They're looking at this debt that they have from this training that they have for a field that they're not working in, and it can mess you up. So with that being said, I bid you peace. Have a nice day.